Hi everyone, hope all is well. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today's a lot of chatting about cars, obviously. I was invited by this very nice bloke in Canada called Jim Gould, who is the head of Seven Spot.
Links for his social media in the description below.
Big Facebook group. He interviewed me in the Westfield. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. He very kindly allowed me to have the footage for my channel. I cannot thank enough. It's a slightly summarized version. I've taken all the R's and ums and from me, mostly, because my brain stops a lot, most of the time. All the time. Yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoy. Cheers!
Oh, God.
Yeah, we're now live.
Is it working?
Well,
hi guys,
world, and greetings, Seven Spot. It's me, Seven Spot Jim, or you can call me Jim Gould. You can call me anything you want, but you can't call me late for dinner because I'm never late for dinner. But here we are. It's virtual and socially distant Sevens today from a very not so wonderful, somewhat cloudy, little bit rainy, cold and miserable Vancouver, British Columbia. It's 7 degrees plus Celsius. Horrible. And of course, we have our show host for the day, John Minion. What's the weather like in Evesham?
Absolutely glorious. Yeah, my plants are growing. It's really sunny. It's not -3. There's no snow. It's not been raining, and it's not dark.
You're lying.
And if you believe that, you'll believe anything.
And of course, the star of the show, we're bringing him in, Jose Windle. Jose, you're in Portugal, are you not?
I am indeed.
All right.
In the Algarve.
Okay, let's get the weather out of the way. It's a little later in the evening.
Just tell me
right now, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Vancouver. 10 o'clock, I think. Is that about right?
Yeah, 10 o'clock in the UK and Portugal. We share the same meridian line.
Okay,
so
cool.
It's exactly the same hour. Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. And what's the temperature like in Portugal?
It's cooler, actually. It's getting, I think it was 12? Something
cooler.
Like that.
It can't get any cooler than we are in the UK.
Oh, I know. Listen, John, I have experienced -2 while we were there a few weeks back, so I know perfectly well. And yeah, I don't miss it.
And let me bring in our most recent guest, Trevor Rolfe.
Hi, Trevor. You're right.
Hi, Jim. Hi, John. And hi, Will.
Jose Windle.
No, Jose.
Oh, Jose Windle. Jim gave me tough information there.
Yeah.
So, hi, Jose.
Hi, Trevor.
Well, I'm gonna turn the show over to the star because we're not here to talk to either myself or Trevor or John. We want to talk to Jose, and I want to find out about your Westfield. And you told me a little bit off air. Kind of like you had an interesting story about, well, this was your dad's kit that he put together and you helped somewhat, right?
Very briefly, probably a few hours worth of help. Maybe less, to be frank.
Yeah.
I think, when was it? 2007. So I was 14. Yeah. And I was like, oh yes, very excited to we got a new kit because it came in a giant box.
Yeah.
And all nice and packed from Westfield.
Did you order like the full kit?
Yes. Oh yeah. But it was the because we used what was it called? The SEV kit.
Oh, it was
not the Mazda.
No, it was the old Sierra one, I think. It was the
Well,
SDV.
yeah,
Single donor vehicle, that was.
exactly. That's the one. Thank you.
I knew I was here for a reason.
Yes.
And what engine?
You're welcome, mate.
Well, initially it had a 1975 1.6 Ford Pinto engine off a Cortina, and it had twin 40 Webers and a 5-speed Type 9 gearbox. It was all nice and dandy.
I'm not a big fan of Type 9 gearboxes, but that's just me. But yeah.
Each to their own. Well, so far, so good. We never had any issues, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what's your experience, actually, just out of curiosity?
Bit like a Land Rover gearbox.
Yeah. Oh, never had any problems. No.
Jose, I'm with you.
They do need maintenance on the bushes and stuff like that. But yeah.
And it leaks a little bit, but
yeah, but it's like British motorbikes. They leak a little bit. They do it from the factory. It's the way it works.
Standard issue,
Exactly.
as one might say.
Yeah, if it doesn't leak oil, take it back. It's faulty.
Yeah, exactly.
And
But,
it's not leaking oil; it's leaking power. That's what I always say.
Oh, don't get me started on that. The web, but that's another point to talk later in the evening.
Let me just jump into it. I mean, as we're looking at it right now, it does no longer have that Pinto engine. You had it taken back to the UK, correct? What was the reason for that?
I was going to ask about that because obviously it was a 1.6 litre Pinto. You had it shipped back to the UK. You've swapped the engine, then brought it back into Portugal.
Exactly.
And then you had a bit of a nightmare registering it. So yeah, tell us your story.
Could I suggest? Could we go back a little bit? How complete was it when you sent it to England? Because I don't understand that bit of the story. So from when you put your few hours into help, how complete was it when it shipped to England and then returned?
It was completely finished. It was ready to be IV8.
Okay.
And so it was basically on a transporter straight to Westfield, and it was IV8. Then we picked it up on a rainy.
Winter's night.
No. It wasn't night. We actually arrived in the Lake District in the afternoon. We had to go early, and that was quite an interesting. Sorry?
When you say it arrived in the Lake District, I used to live in the Lake District.
Well, we live in Ullswater. That's where we live.
Okay. Not far from where, I used to live in Millham.
Right. Okay. I only moved there in 2013, and this happened before my move and went to study music and stuff like that. So it was way before that. So it was shipped to the UK with the Pinto. It was Q-regged, as one expects, and all good.
And you say it was all good. What was the reason for the engine upgrade then?
Well, it's very simple. Europe don't recognize the Q plates emissions. How should I say? I wouldn't say rights. How should I say?
Criteria.
Just don't recognize. Yeah, criteria. Thank you. Yes. And the car, because it was registered in 2008, the car should emit 2008 emissions.
Mm-hmm.
So, hence the Duratec.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. Yeah.
Then, all hell broke loose because, unfortunately, my father did not have and I didn't have the knowledge that we have now about fuel injection, tuning, and all that malarkey. And so we were heavily dependent, and we still are, to pretty much on specialists.
Yeah.
And the specialist that installed our engine was not very good.
He was not very special.
I think that's quite kind, quite kindly put, to be honest. We basically asked.
Sorry, Jose. Where was the engine swap done? Because I'm a bit lost. So it came to the UK. It had the Pinto engine.
Yeah, in 2008, registered in 2008, came back
with a Pinto engine.
Then it went back in 2009.
Back to the UK.
Yeah. And that was the first of many trips back to the UK. By the way, basically, we asked very clearly, this car needs to meet 2008 emissions. Well, and he said, "Oh, this is the module that you get, and it has throttle bodies and blah, blah, blah." We didn't know any better, and so we said yes. And we also asked him for a button, because he said, "Oh, I can make a button that it can have one tune, and then switch to another tune for the MOT here in Portugal."
Really? Yeah.
We never got that. What we got instead was a very badly tuned Duratec. What else? A gearbox without oil.
A gearbox without oil.
Well, yeah, pretty much a few smidges of oil.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Trevor.
Taking the oil out reduces the weight.
Completely.
Might increase the temperatures a little bit.
And increases my heart rate, to be honest. Had the most Frankenstein. We still have remnants of it actually over there. I don't know where exactly it is, but the
coolant pipe.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. Absolute Frankenstein. They just got bits here. Didn't even bother getting the ones from Westfield, which they have ones purely for the Duratec.
Yeah.
No. Didn't bother with that. And they decided to put this crappy thing as a catalyst.
I thought you were going to pull. I thought you were going to pull the fuse out of that and throw it.
Yeah, I was thinking that looks like a hand grenade.
It does look like a hand grenade, because this is, and better still, this is mild steel, whilst the rest of the exhaust is
stainless. Yeah,
and the catalyst is not even stainless either.
Oh, no.
So we got anyways. And the car was left outside. Oh, but that's another. That was the next year.
That never helps.
Okay.
Never helps.
No. Wait. So let me think. So we had plenty of power. Blah blah. Got it back up to the Lake District. It felt weird. We didn't know any better. The engine was partially. We were just running it in. Reasonably okay. We just didn't know any better at that point, so we just went with it. Trusted. Yeah. Oh, it had no lander sensor, by the way. I forgot. That's another point.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. So
where Jose, at this point, where were you with the registration? Because you'd obviously taken it back to Portugal once, and they said presumably
no. It hasn't got back to Portugal just yet.
Okay.
It was still so right. IVA'd Portugal, then to England, Duratec. Then we came back with the Duratec.
Yeah.
And what a heck of a drive. We're in Spain, 35 degrees, in near Sevilla, and the fuel pump. The car starts running rubbish.
Yeah.
Just managed to get to our house, and discovered that the high pressure pump completely just ate itself. It was just full of metal
bits.
Yeah,
shearings.
That was one. Yeah. So then ordered another one. Then what else? Yes, then the start of the legalization procedure. Luckily, we know our MOT centre a little bit. They're reasonably kind, and they, before we actually proceeded to the official test, because you have an MOT for the number plate. So you got a normal MOT once the car is registered, but this MOT is like an introductory MOT to the legalization process. Well, the car didn't meet any emissions. It was horrible. It didn't pass at all. And they said, "Where's the Lambda sensor?" Oh, it needs a Lambda sensor? I didn't know. We had no idea, like I initially said. So then we called the guy, sent us a Lambda sensor. Pretty much, I think he just attached it and somehow it connected to the ECU. The ECU was I can't even remember. But it was a crappy basic thing.
Mega Squirt.
Sort, not Mega. Oh Jesus, what was it?
Or Emerald.
No, that's too posh.
Yeah.
No.
I'm trying to think what's down the poor end of because Mega Jolt is just for ignition, but if you had fuel injection, so that would have been a Mega Squirt.
Yeah.
I think it was the Mega Squirt variant, something like that. But it had another name.
There are a lot of similar ones around, based, I think, on the same sort of software. So
Yeah.
So that was another thing. So Dad and I are trying to work our slow computer or laptop from doing Skype, basically tuning, and
this would have
useless.
Been when? What year?
Still 2009.
Okay.
Then
so you got it to the point.
So it got to that point. It just no matter what we did, it still didn't pass.
So it's come all the way back to the UK again.
Yeah, for a second time, yes.
Yeah.
So and then Dad flew, arrived. The car was left outside in the rain. I had a puddle of water inside the seat. Brilliant. Really angry.
Yeah.
Just
it's amazing how watertight these cars are.
Yeah. And no, it hadn't. The roof was not even on.
I'm not talking about with the roof on.
No, it's what we call the bathtub effect.
Yeah.
Yes, which I don't recommend. But then we just gave up, and we went up north.
Did you ever think just about just giving it all up and trying not to get it?
Oh, 13 years this has taken.
13 years.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's impressive commitment. I would admire you for that. So you've gone back and gone back up north with it to take it somewhere else to get it running right.
Right. The second one put a bigger catalyst. This one, to be precise.
Oh.
It was stainless steel, but it's the reason why it's a bit black because Dad put heat wrap to try and make it as efficient as possible so the heat doesn't dissipate.
I am not a big fan of heat wrap, I have to say.
Nah, me neither.
No.
So that was put on. A second ECU was put on, this time a DTA S40 ECU and a 2J2 Tech Edge wideband O2 sensor controller.
Any luck with that?
No, still failed.
Oh, it ran. It ran perfect. Well, that's what
and were you still? Was the car still in England at this point, or had you taken it back yet again?
We tested it. We tested it at my cousin's garage. It has an MOT station in Penrith, and it barely passed. I mean,
so you have managed to get it and pass MOT.
Well, we thought it passed. So we drove back again to Portugal, and
you're literally driving this all the way from Cumbria all the way down to Portugal each time, there and back.
Yeah. Well, the second time let me think. So the first time was to BIV8 was transported. The second time was on a transporter as well. But on the way back, it's always us driving. or my dad
Yeah,
driving
yeah.
in this case.
Or was it raining?
No, we never had any issues with the weather. Because we always chose sort of the right periods to go. And we used to go through Santander, so
okay.
from Portsmouth or Bilbao, I can't remember. It's a bit of a blur.
You bypass France, basically.
Exactly. Yes. Oh yeah. Oh Christ, no, that's a bit.
Some might say that's the best thing to do, but hey,
I wasn't going to go there, John.
We just wanted to get home. That's how bad we wanted. Yeah, still failed, basically. Then we had an issue with the, but that was the third time, I think, when it had to go back. And I had to redo another tune again because the guy can do the map from over Skype. So the car went on a transporter a third time. That's how I completely forgot. Then we moved in 2013 to England. Yeah, so the car stayed British from 2013 till 2021. No, 2020. Oh, God.
It's interesting, Jose, that the easiest solution to all your problems seemed to have been to move to England. Right, it was easier to move to England than to actually register it in Portugal. So I think you took the best solution there, personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a lot of money was spent on it.
I can imagine just on the shipping fees and driving it there and back.
It's been a money pit. It's been a very a jinxed car. It's a completely jinxed car. Every time somebody touches this car and it's not us, it's a very sad affair. And during those years while we were in England, the car was never used because Dad was so depressed with it. It was just put in the shed. And once in a while,
say, if you lived in the Lake District, I mean, I used to live there. There's a clue in the title. It's always raining. That's why they've got lakes there.
Well, it's the salt mostly. The
But it's all sorted now, though, isn't it, Jose?
What, the car?
Yeah.
So you're back in England in 2013.
I don't know, actually. We will soon see in February when it gets its MOT. But we're skipping the timeline. Then after I finished college and had some issues with health and blah blah blah, sad period, we decided to come back. Then luckily there was a representative in Porto, a Westfield representative, and that's the reason why this car is now Portuguese. If without that person, no way this car would have been registered. Because it still had the issues. Now it is, Now it's with its Portuguese. It's coincidentally it's got 77. I think sort of dedication to the Lotus 77. But by the way, Portugal does not have personal number plates. The personalized. There's no such thing. Whatever you get is what you get. That's it. It's sort of like when the cars are brand new in the UK and you just cannot change it. Whatever you get in the sack, it's there forever.
That's it. You can't put a different private plate on it or change it.
No such thing.
What you've got. It's nice with the 77 on it though. I like it.
Well, you can always move back to England.
No, you can't. You can't use you can't change a Q plate.
Is that right?
That's another. Yeah, if you had a modern engine, if you had the Duratec brand new from the start, it would have probably been a 08 registration. Then you could have put whatever you wanted. Yeah. Positive side, it ended up finally in Portugal after 13 years. So, and it's now got what does it have? It's got a Euro 5 catalytic converter. It's been tuned, but the car runs like a bloody tractor. And
still, yeah.
If we knew throttle bodies were going to be such a pain in the derriere, we would have never, ever have done this in the first place. We didn't want power. We just wanted a normal car. We just wanted it to work. We never asked for throttle bodies. We just didn't know any better. We thought, it's fuel injection. Fuel injection. Somebody will map it. Yeah. Somebody will pass it. It shouldn't be rocket science.
Being realistic, I think though, to achieve the emission levels you were looking at for like 2008, by the sounds of it, I think you would have struggled to achieve that on carburetors.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
It would have been impossible. It would have been impossible. I wouldn't even contemplate using the Pinto. Yeah. Jesus Christ!
No, not Jose, not the Pinto, but even if you had a carburetor onto that Duratec.
Yeah, that's right.
Which would be an option. You could run motorcycle carburetors or something like that.
That's quite true. Yeah, that's quite
true. You still wouldn't have got the emissions down to the level that I imagine you would have needed to pass 2008. So you were stuck down the throttle body line.
We got to a point where we spent so much money. My dad just could not, we just try and we just didn't know. We still had hope that it could still pass. So it now has. Oh, by the way, there was another thing that was missing: a map sensor. It never had one, and we risked it with this new new catalytic converter, a Euro 5, instead of being a Euro 4, which is what would have been for a 2008 equivalent.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, the car revs at idles at 1500 revs. And I don't think the MOT inspector will be very keen on that. It will pass probably at between because the test is done at idle and at between 2.5 and 4.5 thousand, something like that. Yeah. And it has to be able to hold it. Well, the engine doesn't really do that. It's sort of
we have a similar thing in the UK on emissions for MOT and blah 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 and IVA. I've got a bike engine. Jim's got a bike engine, and ours runs for 13,750, which gets a little bit naughty, and you've got no chance on emissions. But you've got the chance to declare. You've got the chance to declare what your maximum revs are. So we just put a little red sticker on the rev counter at about 7,000 revs, and we just say that's the maximum revs.
Yeah,
and it gets us through every time.
They don't know,
does it? Well, I'm surprised. Do they have catalytic converter? The ones inside the
ours is pre-IVA, so we've not got a catalytic converter at all.
Yeah.
So
lucky you.
Yeah, well, this show isn't about us, John.
but now,
you're just rubbing it in, just.
But Jose, now that you've got it registered, what obviously in the UK at the moment we have to go for an MOT test every year. What is the situation in Portugal?
Same thing, exactly the same thing. But the MOT centres are not private MOT centres. These are gigantic, almost IVA centres.
Oh dear.
You understand me? So there's like 4.
Bureaucratic.
It's extremely bureaucratic.
Yeah.
You can't muck about unless you know that people. There's a Portuguese. Well, I don't recommend it because I'm not that. We try to be honest people, but some people just put 20 euro notes in the ashtray when they get to the centre.
You're gonna have to buy one of those because I don't think it was a Westfield option.
No. Well, it has an ash, a cigarette lighter.
But one option you could have done was, rather than registering it as through the proper channels, perhaps you could have acquired a identity, shall we say, from a much older UK kit car.
No.
I have seen papers and documents advertised. You don't get the car.
I can imagine.
You just get the documents and
the VIN plate.
It's not. Yeah.
No.
Well.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And actually, I've seen one worse, and I've got first-hand experience of this. It wasn't actually my car, but somebody sold a car to Italy, and and it was an old. I'm not going to say what car because it will narrow it down to who it was, but it was an old cheap kit car, basic one. And somebody won it, and they were in Italy, and they spent like £800 buying it or whatever it was. And they literally said, "You can keep the car. I just want the number plates, the V5, and the VIN plate."
And the VIN
and
plate,
they posted that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because is it? There's a date issue. Is it a date issue on the cars in Europe? Is it 1977? I've plugged that figure out my head. But
what do you mean in issues? In like emissions wise? Or
no, in terms of registering a car on the continent, certainly in Germany and France, it has to be before a certain date. And I think I've got a date of 1977 in my head from somewhere. If it's post 1977, you've then got to go through the whole rigmarole. But pre 1977, you're fine.
Portugal's different. Portugal has its own rules. They love to put their own rules and tax upon tax when there shouldn't be no tax.
Mentioning the bureaucracy is not only lengthy and cumbersome and painful; it's also expensive.
Yeah, it is very expensive. If we had the possibility of passing the MOT with the Pinto, legalizing it, because the Portuguese have this rule since 2007 of measuring grams per kilometer of CO2. And what that means is they take your car, whatever it is, for example, it could be a Mini from 1987, Mini 1000, and they put it on the rolling road. And whatever CO2 comes out the back, that's the tax you pay.
Wow.
Yeah, oh yeah. And now it's even worse because, as you were saying, cars from 1970 have a certain, let's just say, liberties. Well, now Portugal, every single classic, no matter what the age, it has to do a CO2 test, regardless. Really? Because before that, before Christmas, in fact, any of you could have brought it in and you'd only paid on engine size. So basically the taxation is based on engine size and CO2 from now on.
Wow.
And before 1970, that was the point. You'd only pay CCs. Now you pay everything. So you bring a Jaguar E-Type 1969. So they make the calculation on the 4.2 liter. And let's just say it will probably do 350 grams per kilometer. So that would probably equate to, let's just think. And Brexit. I forgot. Which Brexit just really it really rubs it in. It's like a salt on a wound. So with Brexit, let's just forget the cost of the E-Type, for example. It would probably cost around the 80 to 90,000 euros. I'm just saying average because there is an actual calculation website that you can actually go.
Euros? Did you just say?
Yes.
As a
on CO2. That's just on tax.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We haven't even talked about paperwork.
Can we just rewind there a second? Because I thought you were talking about purchase price.
No. We're not talking about purchase price. We're just talking about importation price.
Emissions cost.
Yeah.
Per year?
Lots of diesel cars go through this.
Oh, the diesel cars are even more expensive because they hate them. Which is fascinating because in the noughties, they were the cheap ones to buy.
Yep.
Everybody was incentivized to buy diesel.
And diesel back in the early days was cheaper. Now look at it; it's more expensive than petrol.
And in the UK, we were incentivized to buy diesels in the early 2000s because they were sort of low tax vehicles.
And lower on emissions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. That's why, if Dad's BMW in yearly tax, he pays 60 euros versus £280 a year? How much would you say for a year 2000 BM? About close to 300.
In the UK?
Yeah, in the UK, yeah. Should be 290, isn't it?
Yeah, probably 290. Might be a little less if it's a diesel, but yeah.
Yeah, well, here's 60 euros. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all.
Now,
It doesn't at all.
if you bought the equivalent 530D diesel now, a brand new one, you'd be paying 600 a year, maybe 700,
Wow.
something like that. Oh yeah,
Wow.
but that's not including that's just road tax. Anyway.
That is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So in Portugal, just with reflect on what we have in the UK, is that basically after 40 years, the government aren't really interested in either tax or MOT on the vehicles, whether it's cars or motorcycles. It seems to be very much a case of, particularly with the MOTs, it's very difficult to get some of the older cars to comply with some of the modern MOT requirements. So basically, they say it's such a small element of what's on the road. On your way, you're tax-free and you're MOT exempt. There's nothing like that at all in Portugal.
Well, here's the grey area. There is a thing. Once cars are 30 years old, that's the difference between Portugal and Britain. You can have it certified as historic. Now, if I turn here to your right,
Oh,
Ooh.
the Pilgrim.
Look at that Cobra.
Well, I thought this was a 7-channel, not a Cobra channel.
Oh yeah, we can't look at that anymore. No.
Fine.
Okay, I'm going to note this camera. No,
I'm going blind. I'm going blind.
Jose, I very, very nearly. You might have seen it on 7 Spot channel, a video that we did. I very, very nearly bought a Cobra.
What kind?
I was just about to pull the trigger. It was
an AK, wasn't it?
It was an AK with a 3.9 blueprinted engine in it. I went out on it. I took my wife in it at the time, out in it.
Aye.
Absolutely loved it. And
That was a mistake.
And she woke up in the morning. She said, "John, I'm going to think about this." And she said, "I'd rather have a conservatory instead." So that was it.
Well, you
And at
can't
that
say
point-
no.
And at that point, John, you put your foot down, didn't you, with a firm hand, and had the conservatory.
Naturally.
I'm now divorced from Evesham.
Crikey.
Show us the
Jeez.
Cobra. What engine?
Well, do you really want to know what it is?
Yeah. Rover?
No, it's got the Pinto in that came out of the Westfield.
Yeah, there we go.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty. I was right. It is the Pinto out of the Westfield.
It is.
Well, actually, there's 2 Pintos in this house. And that's the Webers that were on the Westfield.
Oh, okay.
And one of the reasons for this being a 1.6 is very simple. Importation tax. Simple as that.
Wow.
Because you can't in the 90s, just to bring a 2-liter, you don't want to know. It was and it was in Skuj, in the old currency. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was the equivalent of 5,000 euros. That's how much that paid in 1999. I think it was 1999 to the junkyard.
Yeah,
we all have one of those. Don't worry.
Well, this is what was in the Westfield.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So it's now again a spare engine for the Pilgrim. Yeah, but I tell you one thing. Oh yeah, that's another. That's the main project that we're on. It's an After 8 limited edition Mini. Rover is a Mini 1000. That has just been doing the welding. It's done about 30,000 miles since new.
Wow.
And I'll tell you one thing: the Portuguese Minis way better than British, because the rust is
manageable.
You can't believe for a 1992 car. It's done pretty damn good. And it was from an old lady in Lisbon, all original. The interior is pretty much impeccable.
The steering wheel's on the wrong side. That's all I'd say.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
But-
me.
I know for Jim is perfect. Actually, I don't know how to import. a night. Well, actually, yeah, that's quite true. You guys would be perfect for Canada. That's quite true. Well, anyway, so you want to have a quick anything?
Yeah, there we go. That's spot on.
Right.
Just before you start, Jose, can I just ask one question before I forget? Because I think it may be of interest to people. But I'm hoping I'm not going to bring you any more pain. Is that
right?
Is that the STV Westfield kit was a single donor vehicle, and the idea being you should have been able to get an age-related plate.
Well, that's the thing. We only had the engine and gearbox.
Okay, fine. That answers that question. Yeah.
In fact, we got the Sierra back end, all new. The only thing that was old was the gearbox and engine that you see that was stored over there.
Yeah. But had you have had an age-related plate, so had it been G274 ABJ, would that have made your registration process a lot easier?
Emissions-wise, it'd have been much easier, yes. But if the car was still registered as 2008, it would make no difference. The car would still need a 2008 engine. There was a grey area during the IVA period where having all the bits from the donor car, yes, you could have the registration, but I don't think you could have the year of the car. But then there were years before in the 90s where you could, and I can't remember exactly what's true and what's not true, or what's official, I should say.
Well, I built an IVA or SVA'd mine, and it's a G registration, which is 1990. But when you look at the V5, I would have to double check. I might even dig it out quickly in a minute, because it basically it refers to a 1990 but rebuilt in 2004.
But what does it say on the actual V5? Does it say the name of the kit, like Westfield or whatever, or does it say?
Yeah, it does say Robin Hood.
Correct. Okay.
There's one here I prepared earlier. Okay. On the special notes on the front, it says was registered and or used, declared manufactured in 1990. So that was a G registration. However, if I look at date of first registration, it's 2004.
That 2004 doesn't matter. No, that's useless. In fact, that would be a pain in the ass, actually. In fact, there's a Gardner Douglas. I'm not going to mention who it is, who just managed to import his Gardner Douglas with a 6.3 liter V8, and it's 2003, and he's having emission problems just like us. Because, it's not fuel injected, no catalytic. Well, it actually has catalytic converters, but it's the same bloody. He's been misinformed like us, unfortunately, and he has those 100-cell bloody. You might as well not freaking have anything on it. It angers me what people can, when you don't know what you're doing, people can just give you rubbish.
Duff information. Yeah.
It's a very pretty looking car, even though
come in
through the races.
Dash. You've got black.
It's a completely standard dash. Yeah, well, the Smiths dials were an extra.
Smiths, they are expensive.
But we thought, well, we might as well go for it because in those days the nobles all had these Smith dials, and I thought. Oh, come on, Dad. Let's get those instead of the VDOs. The VDOs are nice. There's nothing wrong with them. I don't know. We just thought, well, we'll just go one step up.
They look nice, really nice with the red interior.
Yeah, and the seats look comfy too.
And I can see you got a GB sticker on the back. Is that
well, it's purely decorational.
Yeah, is that a two waggly fingers up to the Portuguese?
No. Hopefully I won't have any issues being stopped by the police, because they might not like that, because for some reason or another I don't know if you are not supposed to have it, but I've seen so many German classics that the owners forget to remove the D. Oh, they still have it. A bit, the stickers are a bit old. I just left it there as a sort of decorational, because it's now UK, so it means nothing, in fact. That sticker. But let me try and. I probably should have taken out the engine.
I am so jealous of your garage.
Oh yeah. at that. You can actually walk around. Can you imagine?
Well, this was quite an expense. Well, it was worth it. To be honest, we had to get. In fact, if you ever get a two-post lift,
Yeah.
measure your the arms, because we have to buy. We have two sets of arms. In fact, these arms are purely for the Mini and the Westfield and the Pilgrim. Yeah, because the standard arms are for normal cars like the BM and whatever. So that is very important, because the jacking points on the Westfield are so, well, as you know, at any 7, they're just there.
Yeah.
You know,
you've got to any 7. You've got to know what you're doing when you're jacking it. Yeah.
Exactly. A normal car, the jacking points would be where the wheels are. But unfortunately, anyways, it hurt, but it was worth getting it. It is the best thing you could possibly get. Unfortunately, we have a bit of a lowish roof. When Dad was building the house, or when the house was being built, he instructed one of the builders to put that hook. It's quite a thick steel into the reinforced concrete, because that is used in conjunction with Granddad's hook and what's it called? A hook and
winch.
Yeah.
Hoist.
And that hoist. Yeah. And that's what removes the engines. So Dad thought of everything.
Wow.
Whilst building the house, and it's a bloody useful thing.
I can fill in with a quick funny. Talking about space in garages. I'm into me motorbikes as well, and I'm absolutely rammed at the moment. And then I got offered another bike. I said, no, I really can't take. I haven't got space. And then I was like, and then it's free. I went,
oh Jesus!
I'll find the space somehow.
Yeah, that's right.
Sam, you'll have to tell us about just about your engine swaps as well, about where you bought a donor car and your missus did not know much about it.
Yeah, well,
you went from a Pinto to a
Z-Tech.
Z-Tech, was it?
Mm. Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, the only thing was, a mistake I made was I said I was going out to buy an engine, and I came back with a complete Mondeo.
Ooh, blimey. Well, I kind of wished we'd have had a complete focus on Mondeo, frankly, because we'd have recycled everything and done it all our freaking selves. Excuse my French. But yeah, here she is, the jinxed beauty, unfortunately.
Looks very tidy installation.
Yeah.
Very tidy engine bay, that as well. And your air filter as well.
Well, the air filter's seen better days, to be frank. We need to buy a new one because this is ridiculous. It is, well, since 2009. It's getting really...
It's just the depth of it as well, because I see so many people just fitting air filters that are just too short for the trumpet end, what I call the trumpet end on the intake.
Well, Dad was considering getting the smaller ones, actually, because he just hates this thing sticking out like a sore thumb. And I don't like it either. But it was put there for a reason, so I'm presuming that's probably why. Oh, that's another thing I completely forgot. When they were installing the engine, they put the wrong coolant. Wrong coolant. Yeah.
And how about the transmission? Did they had the good sense to put some fluids in that?
Well, Dad only discovered that when we arrived back in Portugal.
Yeah.
Because we basically, these last 13 years has been basically correcting everybody's mistakes. And at the moment, he has not been driving it since it's been imported. I'm the one who's been using it because I feel it's just a shame. You know, the car's finally here and it's, might as well use it.
Yeah.
And as long as it's usable and drivable, go for it.
Yeah. And
it is. It's
segue into exactly what you're using the vehicle for. You're breaking into a new career. You started out as studying music, then you're a musician, and now you're going for the YouTube and Instagram Hall of Fame.
or the Catastrophe Hall of Fame. But you know,
But yeah. The other thing is the cars don't like to be sat.
No,
exactly.
But
That's
it
another reason.
does them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does them a lot of good to be just. But even if you're only going around the block, just keeps things like the brakes and everything free and running.
Completely.
So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's got no LSD. It's a standard rear end from a Sierra, or whatever it came with the kit. I can't remember exactly. It has no. It's the standard
wide track.
wide track. Thank you. Yes, that God, I can remember.
No, that's an interesting question. I mean, I don't know about Westfield. Is that it was an option? You could have a wide track.
Yes.
You can get the wide wishbones on it.
Okay.
If you look at MK, which we've got one, MK on the front end is probably one of the widest out there.
Oh yeah.
An MK won't fit on some trailers.
Oh really? Oh
Yeah.
Jesus! I didn't think it was that wide. Right, so it's even wider than this car.
Yeah. See, no, the MK sports cars are pretty damn wide on the front end. Yeah, not so much.
Are they
on the
wider
back
than a
end.
DAX?
They're about the same size as a DAX.
Right.
If we're going to, if you're going to talk about whips, Robin Hoods are fairly well up there because they use the original rear axle and subframe. Because I think in the Westfield you've got Westfield's own wishbones in there, haven't you? Which keeps the width down. Whereas with the Robin Hood, it's got the original width at the back, and the front I think is actually wider than the rear. So yeah, when it comes to chunky, Robin Hoods are up there.
Yeah.
Well, Trevor, actually, now going back, before buying the Westfield, we were going to buy a Robin Hood. And in fact, let me have a look. We have the DVD how to build a Robin Hood somewhere.
Trevor, you're going to have to tell us some stories about that.
Oh, we could do a whole video on that one.
Oh,
it's a 12-hour epic.
Even going before the Robin Hood, we were going to go for a Jaguar XK140 replica, but thank God we didn't. Oh, Jesus, it would have been a hellish thing to import. It would have been impossible. Yeah, we were going to get a Robin Hood because it would have fitted the Pinto.
Yeah,
that was one of the reasons.
I was going to say, Trevor, because from what you told me, when you looked at the Robin Hood DVDs, they weren't quite all in order, were they?
No. It was spectacular that you would start. It would start off possibly quite sensibly because he's using old bits of footage, and you'd have putting the engine and the gearbox in and putting the suspension together, and then the next thing would be putting the windscreen on.
Well, that's an interesting one.
and then you'd go on 2 steps, and then it would be fitting the rear lights, but you haven't fitted the arches yet because that's on the second DVD. You know.
Oh Jesus!
It was spectacular,
and it was very homemade.
Yeah.
Oh, there were classic scenes where he would be fitting something, and a dog walked across in front of the camera.
Oh, I don't remember. I
make none of this up. I make none of this up.
Yeah,
and go on.
I mean, I know they all came with a kit, and he got them. But when it went wrong, he just cut the video and cut the bit when it went right. Here's what I finished earlier.
Hey, well, that's sort of like this live stream.
And that was exactly what. And that was exactly what I was about to say, John. It was like he would be clumping something with a great lump hammer, and then you would cut, and it was just like Blue Peter. That here's one I prepared earlier, and it fitted perfectly. It was. We could do. I could find some clips, and we could do an hour on that, and it would just be non-stop giggles from start to finish.
We'll have to do, Trevor, I think that we'll probably bring you back, and we'll do a 2B special on Robin Hood. What do you think of that?
That would be fantastic. It's pretty much a standard Westfield, to be honest. It's not. It's got the chrome pack basically.
Oh, it's very pretty. And how do you use it? I mean, you say you get out and drive, but it's basically sort of like a garage princess, sort of. In one sense.
Not really. No? To be honest, it is and it isn't, because how should I say? Well, yeah, it is a bit. It has been a garage a bit of a sort of a damsel in distress, to be honest, left in the tower and gathering dust.
Well, it's a typical kit car. There'll always be issues, but I'm glad that you're getting out there and using it. And you're breaking into this YouTubing thing, and that's sort of how I found you. I saw your outrageous YouTube, which I'll post a link to after we're done. But
there's the remnants.
How are the roads in Portugal for driving to start with?
They're great. No, I think, I don't know if you guys watched the first ever episode of the Grand Tour with Jeremy Clarkson and Richard Hammond and James May. They came to Portugal, to the racetrack here, our local racetrack.
Oh, well, the Algarve.
Exactly, yes. It's about 15 minutes away from where we live. And it's actually, I forgot to say, the car was track day once with the Pinto. And it might be track date soon, who knows. Might be another video for the channel, maybe in the future, because track days here, it's built for track. And I think Dad's not very keen. He says he's not that comfortable to be going at high speeds as he used to, but I think once he gets there, I think he'll be okay. The stripes were actually put when it was important. The car never used to have stripes. Dad's, these are our homemade mud flaps.
Oh,
the
nice.
reason I put sport, the reason I put sport is because in Britain, with the Duratec, it would have been called the Sport 2000. But in Portugal, it's called the SCI. But these are from Halfords, by the way, for those in the UK. They're the cheap Halfords do-it-yourself kit.
That is a good idea, fitting those. And I'll tell you why. Because on our rear arches of our 7, we don't have anything fitted. So stones flick up, and I've got loads of dents on my rear arches.
So you got stars. We got stars.
Not so much stars, just nicks and dinks out of it.
Oh, you're going to get that, but it's the mud in your wife's face that that doesn't go over well.
I don't mind about that.
Actually, we haven't got many stars. It's the Pilgrim that has the most stars at the rear.
Yeah, but you got the aluminium stone guard there, haven't you?
No, the fiberglass.
Oh, yeah, I think it would have been silly not to have them, and that's another extra that the Westfield has, the carbon fiber effect.
Stone guard. Yeah.
That did not come with a kit. Dad just remembered. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
wonder if that came from Molfast.
And Dad installed a cut-off switch with a bit of leatherette around the assembly that he made.
That just kills the battery, yeah,
just the battery. And
got the same on ours on the dash.
So how many Jose? How many miles has it done now?
Well, it's done 16,000.
What?
Let me just check.
Not so bad, considering
it's not
the lack of
back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, I think it did 15,000 before it got registered.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, 18,000. Apologies.
Is that kilometers or miles?
No, it's in miles and miles.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like in Britain. These dials are the.
I could take the mickey and say, look, 15,000. That was going to and from Britain and back.
Yeah. You can, because
look. I mean, I think the main thing is you've got it sorted. It's running fine for you.
The thing is, it's tuned to pass emissions, and I've seen the video. It seems to pass, but I'm concerned that it might not.
Yeah,
I'm still not 100% sure, but we will soon see in February. And
Jose, I think the best thing, maybe you could talk to someone from Volkswagen, because they're apparently very good at getting things through emission tests.
I wish. Yeah, this is the map sensor. That's it. Never had. Yeah.
What a story.
No, really interesting.
It's just sad because I wish we could have just used because the same year that this car was once it was registered, we went to the first very track day of the opening of the racetrack at the Autodromo. And there was a brand new Caterham, Portuguese registered. It was a 1600 Academy, but it was homologated for Portugal. And it had...
I was going to say, they've got a homologation, haven't they? Yeah, so you've got no chance, yeah.
Yeah, the Caterham got it right, and is what we wanted it in the first place. It's a pity Westfield couldn't afford the homologation sort of like, like when restaurants have that Michelin star status.
Yeah.
Well, it is very expensive, and quite naturally, they're not going to spend where they can't. And
I don't want to bring it up, but Westfield, let's put it this way, they are resurrecting themselves. Let's put it that way.
Kind of. Yeah, I don't know. We're still waiting for the parts store to open.
That should be open in the new year. Well, they said it was going to be open in the new year. They're now down in.
They said January, yeah.
Not Milton Keynes. It's Bicester way.
Is it? I can't remember. It must be something. Yeah.
Just contact John. John's going up there to pay a visit to Trevor, a different Trevor, over at Westfield to see if we can do a nice walkthrough of their shed. So
hopefully, yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice.
They've got the showroom up and running, as far as I can see, but they were trying to transfer parts down from the Midlands down to it's Bicester Heritage Centre.
Oh, right.
I think we're going into the battery hyperdrive situation on your phone now, because after a certain period of time, your uplink is going to start to fade on your portable phone just on lack of battery power. And we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes.
Have we? Oh, Jesus Christ. Have I been boring everybody that much? I apologize.
Not at all. But I think that we've covered all the bases. What I would like to say,
Jose, play some music.
Oh God, no.
No.
Oh Christ.
I'll tell you what. He's given me some music.
We'll put it in the link afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, he's giving. I am going.
It's a world exclusive actually, because I've never actually shown that demo to anybody. Well, that's the snippets at the end of the instrumental that I made.
Well, I'm going to convert that and post it on the details appended to the video. But I'm also going to attach that wonderful duet that you did with
Yam.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. But Jose, I'm going to say this. Thank you so much for bringing us through your shed.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting.
My pleasure.
Yeah, Jose, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
Sorry you had so much pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, same it.
Well, the pain hasn't finished, so you've got plenty of adventures left.
Well, that's what I mean. You could build your whole YouTube channel about pain, and we'll all watch.
But I'm really impressed, Jose, that you stuck at it as long as you did, because you obviously, a lot of people would have given up a long time before you did, and all your travels back and forward to the UK and your battles in Portugal. So really impressed how you got what is a really nice looking car on the road over there. So very impressed.
I was going to say,
my dad will be very.
I was going to say the same thing back to you, Trevor. Just thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
You've had your own
Lovely to meet.
tribulations and trials.
Yeah.
With the Robin Hood, but a kit car's never finished.
No,
absolutely not.
Well, they're always evolving, aren't they? I see.
Yeah.
I'm going to say thanks everyone for joining us. Another great story. It's an ongoing story, and I know it's going to be great when you get that car sorted. But I'm going to put a link to Jose's YouTube channel so you can all take a look at some of the adventures. He's got a quirky sense of humor. You're going to love it, and
especially his music.
I'm going to put that in the Substack, so that way we're not doing any copyright infringement, and everything will be just groovy. So with that, guys, I'll say thanks, and I'll say to everybody, we will see you at 7 Spot.
Be seeing you.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.